Okay, let me show y'all something real quick. This is the triangle, square, circle. And they teaching your loved ones, your star seeds, this mess in school. Like, teaching them how to cast spells, do rituals, and pledging to certain things. Like the Pledge of the Legion. Alright? Um, and that's messed up. They're programming them on so many different levels. Alright? And they're giving their energy into the triangle, square, circle. I always say that circle basically represent the Saturn, rings of Saturn. And y'all remember I was telling y'all that the numbers and the symbols and all of that shapeshift. Okay? And do y'all remember the greater than and less than? Alright, for example, I'm just going to put G, that's greater than, because I don't think greater fit all up in here. And you remember where it goes that way. Okay. And this is the L, get it? L, number 11, L, 11. And, greater than and less than. How they teach them how to do math. Now, see, this is what I think. And I think the way the numbers and symbols are set up, they're setting it up where they draw their energy into this, like, the triangles and squares and stuff, all these different symbols and stuff, and certain things line up. That's the reason why they got them in school at a certain time. All right, the so-called time, because there ain't no such thing as time. But of course, they got the schedule, and it's the illusion time. All right, so when it comes to that, how they have it, like, for example, greater than or less than. You got, let me see. I'm just going to do one real quick. 9, and then 1. It basically equals out to a 6. And that's basically greater than. And this is what I think. I think this is how they want your loved ones to be trained and trained to the math, like divide certain things, because you got division and algebra and all these other things. They're programming them how to do it this way, but it's another way. Like I said, 1 plus 1 is really not 2. It doesn't equal out to 2, but they got you programmed thinking it's that. And that goes with the money system, the illusion money, And let me show you this, all right? You know how they have X, and I got deep into that. Like, I told you, whatever entertainers that you see on the Cube box, they are, connected to society groups, or they connected to the negative shadows. Like, for example, like the Malcolm X and the Xbox, rated X, rated G. There goes that G, and everybody know the compass and all of that. Then you have the G in the middle, the Masonic thing, the G, and then the so-called illusion God. With there goes the G, and you have the so-called fake gangsters with the letter G. G and stuff, saying gangster or what up G, and all of that crazy mess, right? So, and then the Planet X, the X-Man, it's nothing but certain symbols, like from a certain ship that, I talked about saying, well, my apologies. I talked about how the ship is invisible. You can't see it. When you see these illusion stars, they're really lights connecting to the, the pose and the cell phone that y'all use and stuff. You're basically transferring your energy to that. All right. So let me show y'all something real quick how certain things shape shift. You see the top of this pyramid, right? I'm just going to do it like this. All right. You see that, right? It's upside down. You have the point of the pyramid. The point, right? You see the point right there? The point of the pyramid. And then you put this down the bottom. And what does that look like? X. Okay, and then let me do this. Okay, the triangle. You get the star. It's basically the pyramid. It's certain things line up, and they teach your loved ones, you know, the programming thing, and certain symbols can hypnotize you, and especially like certain sounds and stuff. Now, I remember, you know, back in my era, and I talked about some of this, I touched on it, but I'm going to really get deep into it. I talked about how they used to, some certain individuals, like they so-called said they made bomb threats at the school. So we would have to go outside and sit outside. And when we sit outside, I felt like they was doing something in there, you know, because it's like the bell always would ring, and I felt like the sound of the bell would like kind of basically, kind of in a way, MK Ultra the children, where it could throw their frequency off, because it wasn't Wi-Fi back then, so they had to use certain things, and that's when the math came to play, and then they programmed them. I mean, well, basically was programming us with the, you know, the history, and, you know, with the language and all of that different stuff, call it the English language, all of that mess. And then you had your periods, first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, period, you know, the numbers. See, back in my era, they used to want to test our hearing and stuff like that, and turn the volume up at a certain tone, you know, and I felt like they was trying to control our frequency, you know, with the bell. And of course, you know, you got the pose and stuff outside, and I felt like the triangle and all of that stuff was basically, you was putting your energy into it. You was doing this math that they wanted you to do it a certain way. Got you programmed, you know, with the triangles and squares and stuff like that. Because to me, this circle is like, you know, Saturn. Yeah, and but anyway, what I want to put out there to get y'all to see, because I touched on some of this, and I said I was going to do a part 2, because I was talking about Delusion School, the school. Okay, we all know the school is like, of course, you got your triangle, and this, I call that the basically the illusion skull, if you really look at it. My fault. All right, the eyes and the door, you're basically entering the illusion skull. So what was I what was I saying? um, then you got, like I said, you got Star Trek, for example. I mean, I'm into Star Wars. I don't have nothing. I like the '70s Star Trek. I watch some of the Star Trek, but I'm more into Star Wars and Marvel comics and stuff. If you really look at it, you know, you see the Star Trek sign, like on them. I think I did it right. I forgot. I think that's their sign. It's basically like the top of the pyramid. So, I just want to show y'all. Trips Awakening, y'all will feel my ancient signals, one within the universe, and universe is inside of me. I said I was going to upload another video to spiritual shifting, and I also told you I was going to do part 2 to how they teaching your loved ones how to do spells. So I'm going to merge that together and let the energy flow. So y'all going to get that. And that goes back to, when I was talking about how they teach your loved ones how to do rituals and stuff like that. And then they have them signing, the illusion name, and have them like basically repeating it, like on certain tests, and your first, second, and third, you gotta sign your name. You sign basically signing. It's not your name. You signing your nature. You signing your nature to the piece of paper, and they teach them that, and I feel like that's kind of like that to me. That's programming. When it comes to stuff like that, programming. They think that's their name, and that's not their name. Like I said, we're sounds and vibrations. So, and then back in my era, like they had fire drills, where they say stop, drop, and roll. As I got older, I was like, that, to me, that could have been a ritual, and then they have the sports, and I talked about sports, how it's set up, but I'm not going to get deep into that, how they have, test their abilities to see how they can use them. Like, the public school, they're not gonna, they want them to get programmed a certain way. They want them to, pour their energy and stuff, and they save that to, like, whenever some go to college or whatever, like Yale, I call it Yale Skull and Bones. That's what I call it, and different like for example, this is what I think. I think that they show certain individuals, like in fraternities and in the sororities, how to do comedic spells, and because some of these individuals that's in this cube box on the tell a lie to your vision, these entertainers, majority of them was like into sororities or fraternities. All right, you got your your boule celebrities, and the list goes on. Yale, Skull and Bones, and they teach them how to use energy and use certain numbers and stuff like that. That's the reason why you see, like when you watch any movies, it could be, you'll see 13 in the background, or 6 or 9. Like certain individuals use certain negative shadows, certain groups use certain numbers to control y'all's frequency, even through the through the television programming. Like I said, you got your rated G, rated X, or PG-13 and stuff, where they use certain numbers, and I said the numbers, letters, and all of that shapeshift. All right, so they're programming them to work for put their energy into the corporation and certain individuals that is connected with the society groups They get to, you know, they get taught a different way. Y'all get what I'm saying? And they teach the public school another way. So, and that goes like with the shift, like, like I said, like on a spiritual level, some of y'all, you're changing. And, I kind of talked about what I experienced. Like, I go check out my other video, spiritual shifting. I almost forgot the title of my video. It's been a long one, y'all, so my apologies. I said, like, for example, first, second, and third shift. How come they don't have fourth or fifth shift? So they do it through the phones, giving each other subliminal messages, like, like the Galaxy 1, 2, 3, and 4. They basically talking about different dimensions and certain levels, but, they use y'all's DNA to make like I said before, plasma TV and the smartphones and all of that stuff. That's how, the technology is able to pick up on your brainwaves. And I talked about that before. So the shift changed, and some of y'all changing, like on so many different levels. Some of y'all are still stuck and basically under the spell and program. So I just had to share that with y'all. I think it's messed up, like that your loved ones have to, go through that. Don't know that they're basically doing rituals and working for corporations and casting spells, and, like they talk about get an education and, and all of that mess. That's programming. And then I talked about how some portals, like, it could be your mother or father, which to me that's names and titles too. But I think it's messed up how they program children and get mad at them. Some of them beat their children if they don't make good grades. Oh, we want you to make good grades. And, my loved one, my starseed, I put her on. I let her know what's really going on, how the system works and all of that stuff. And I just told her, I don't care what you do, and what I mean by that is I told her that I'm not going to get mad, because, I broke it down just like how I'm breaking it down to y'all. And, I told her do the best that she can, like for her. Don't worry about that school. You do your best, although she's making, her grades is cool. You know what I'm saying? Her grades are cool. She's a sophomore. And, so it's like, it's different than back in my era, because they got Wi-Fi. And the Wi-Fi and control the starseed's frequency. And some of them are not mature. They have that in middle school and stuff like that. And in other countries, they get programmed another way. But some of them get programmed, and then they learn this language and they know this language, then they come over here. That's the reason why, I was telling y'all that when it comes, and I don't mean to get off topic, and I put this out there, that's the reason why I said the so-called planets, which y'all call, pardon me, y'all call it countries and states, but I call it planets, they all connected together. And they like, oh, they're enemies and stuff, but they allow certain shades, y'all call them Arabs, and they, saying, oh, well, they doing this and that. I'm going over their country to do this and that. But they allow them to come over in certain communities, our shade come in our communities, and then, and then you have like, the other shade that some of y'all call them Asians. come in certain communities and stuff. But they saying, oh, well, they are a threat and Russian. They all connected together. And like I said, that's why I did a video saying they're basically nothing but actors. Like whatever you see on there, they're nothing but actors. And then they got the low budget pretenders on social media. You have certain individuals that connected, like they on YouTube connected to the society groups programming y'all as well. And then they allow negative videos, and certain videos tell y'all how to do rituals and stuff like that. And like I said, some of them don't even know what they're doing. They're just recycling information and, scriptures and all of that stuff. Or tell y'all how to, if you probably, like I said, if you type, I bet if y'all like go watch and type in on YouTube or Google how you break spells and stuff, you'll have some of these Muppets don't know what they're talking about telling y'all, and then have y'all all messed up on so many different levels because you could bring something negative to you. That's the reason why I said if anyone tell y'all, how to break spells or how to do spells, that's a bunch of mess because they don't know. Only certain individuals know how to do it. Certain individuals and certain society groups in them be using comedic spells. And it's through the whole system. So you can break spells. You know what I'm saying? Like you can break spells and you can outpower spells. You can take control and reverse it. You should, use the system. Use that negative against the negative. You get what I'm saying? So it's like, all right, certain things you got to balance, but like I said, it's messed up that how they're programming, and then, like I said, some of y'all are changing, switching shifts, going through another dimension, and you'll see some of y'all probably see what I see. And some of y'all learning, because some of y'all say, hey, I'm coming to your channel, I'm learning this and that, and y'all grateful, and I love sharing with y'all. And some individuals, a couple have said that I helped them with their dreams, and I appreciate y'all. Y'all said I'm connecting with y'all and showing y'all a lot of things, and and like I said, I'm doing this from the heart. Because you got these Muppets out there, I call it the energy line, using this illusion money, taking stuff away from y'all. Want y'all support them and be on some negative stuff, using stuff to, feed their bloodline. You feeding the negative shadows, and then you feed the negative shadows like negative hybrids and human cartoons and the preachers and conscious Muppets and politicians and celebrities, y'all feeding all of that instead of worrying about your loved ones. So I just, like I said, I do this from the heart. Like I said, I wouldn't dare ask y'all for money or none of that stuff. I wouldn't do that. So y'all ain't got to ever worry about me doing that. And, but yeah, that's basically what's going on. With the shifts, they're talking in codes. They want some of y'all to stay on the first, second, and third. They want you to be in that dimension and other worlds and other planets. They are like I said, some of them, the low vibration worlds, they're behind, and it's unlimited dimensions, because at first, now everybody's saying, oh, pardon me, we're on the fifth dimension, but once you get in tune and get activated, your DNA really your DNA just really get activated, you will see many things. I see many things. Like you will look like the things that's around you. You can see what's really going on. You can see through the illusion, and but you can move on to other things. You can move on to other things. Like for example, like they have certain certain agents in the community that's on, in your air. I mean, in my apologies, in your community. All right. They know when we activate our Merkaba. Okay. That's the reason why, for example, like the movie Left Behind. I seen that like back in the 90s or something like the 80s or 90s. But long story short, certain individuals was disappearing. Okay. So when it was disappearing, basically they activate their Merkaba. And just like in Marvel Comics recently, Thanos, when if y'all, spoilers if y'all haven't already seen it, but it's the Avengers Infinity War, because basically, like when it comes to Infinity Wars and like The Walking Dead, like it's like they had certain things which I watched that and stuff like that. They had them going to war. It's a spiritual war, and y'all are, you Earthlings are in it. But not to get off topic, but Thanos, like, basically people was just disappearing and stuff. That, I could break that. I'm gonna do a video and break that down. But I just want to give y'all a taste of that. Like I got what was going on. They activated their Merkaba and they was disappearing, and they can go through different dimensions to reach many levels and stuff like that. All right, so that's what's going on, and they throw you off with horror movies when it comes to horror movies, like when they say such and such is possessed and all of that stuff. They're not really possessed. There's certain things that take over their vessel, so they can control certain situations. But they got y'all thinking, oh, they demon possessed, which that's nothing but names and titles and stuff like that. Like through horror movies and certain things be flying around. It's like the certain things around y'all can't see. And like I said, we're energy. Travel through we can travel through many things. We here in the physical realm, and we can move around in the spiritual world once you get out the programming system. So, I just wanted to, let y'all know, put y'all on. And like I said, I appreciate y'all, and I want y'all to glow long, and stay away from the negative stuff, like, or get away from this programming mess. And I'm gonna keep the videos coming. What? Did somebody say something?